You do either the same thing and you keep doing the same thing and you keep doing the same weights and you keep doing the same amount of time and routine, your body stops responding, which means your body stops getting in the kind of shape or getting in better shape. I just want to maintain my fitness. Well, the bottom line is you can't maintain it unless you're actually progressing because your body is still going to get older. You're going to accommodate and adapt. Welcome back to another episode of the Brave Today podcast. This show is going to encourage, challenge, maybe even provoke you to step outside of your comfort zone, take more action to better improve yourself and your health. I'm your host, Mark Avens, in this crazy upside down world that keeps pushing a narrative for good people like you and me to become softer and weaker and sicker and unhealthier, more dependent than ever. The goal and intent of my show is to help you navigate through it so you can become not only braver today, but braver today than you were yesterday. Now, we have a bunch of different types of shows, but we're on a series, and it's a beginner's guide to getting stronger. In the earlier parts, we talked about how to get started getting stronger and starting to strength train and what that looks like. Earlier than that, in part 2 episode, we talked about the misconceptions. And then back in part 1, our very first episode of the beginner's guide to getting stronger, we talked about the benefits of strength training. So I'd highly recommend that you go back and check those out. First, let me know your comments, thoughts. If there's anything I missed, I'd be happy to engage and connect with you. And I'd love to find out more about you. And if you're struggling with when it comes to things like strength training, by all means, let's connect for sure. The best ways to do that, you can drop a comment down in the YouTube or in the comment section, or you can send me a message at info at avensfitness.com. And you can also find me some other social platforms. But with that, let's jump into part 4, episode 4. In this part in the guide to getting stronger, we're going to be talking about when is it time to change things up. And this is specifically geared towards beginners, although it'll also pertain to any level of fitness that you're doing. So one of the things that I just know that ends up happening when it comes to starting a strength training program, once you have it all set up and ready to go, and then the next part is like, okay, so you shared with me a little bit about how to get started and how to increase weights, but when is it time to switch up the workout? And I see this happen, and I've seen it over the last couple of decades where people tend to get on a path and they'll do one of two things. And let me know if this sounds familiar. Feel free to share your comments. You do either the same thing and you keep doing the same thing and you keep doing the same weights and you keep doing the same amount of time and routine. And routine is good, but when your body gets adapted, as I had mentioned too in past episode, your body stops responding, which means your body stops getting in the kind of shape or getting in better shape. And, there's a really evil word that I actually loathe when I hear people talk about fitness is maintaining. It's such a word that really is honestly kind of the worst thing to think about. I just want to maintain my fitness. Well, the bottom line is you can't maintain it unless you're actually progressing because your body is still going to get older. You're going to accommodate and adapt, and you're going to have to meet up to those accommodations and adaptations in your body. So as far as that side goes, on the one scale is doing the same thing over and over again, is the definition of insanity. And that's something that, you probably don't want, especially if you're going to actually be intentional, taking time to take fitness seriously and actually work out. So you're either going to do, before changing up, you'll get stuck in the kind of monotony and doing the same thing over and over routine, or you're going to be like I've seen as well, people get bored, they change things up too quickly. They don't allow their bodies to actually get adjusted. They actually feel like, oh, well, I'm doing this now, I can just change up my routine. I'll do some spinning for a while. No, I'm not going to do it. Let me do some Pilates. I'm going to do some strength training. Let me do some free weights. No, let me get a kettlebell. And they're like, honestly, it's just, it's kind of crazy to see that happen. And I get it. You get bored, or you think you're getting bored, or maybe the boredom is out of that. You're just not getting the results. So there's really like two sides of the coin. And when you're thinking about strength training, you really want to just understand that you're going to continue doing what's going to get you results. It's really the bottom line. Of course, you want to enjoy what you're doing, but as far as our conversation today and talking about that, the time to change things up, I want to actually hone in on that for you, especially if you're a beginner. Now, if you're a beginner, the most important thing before thinking about changing things up is that you want to make sure you're consistent. So I would say if you, let's just say, talk about 12 weeks, 3 months. And 3 months time, maybe the first month you get started on a strength training program, you're doing the gym routine, you're doing the circuit workouts, or maybe you got some free weights at home, or maybe you're doing a body weight training routine for strength training. And the first maybe month you go, I'm just going to kind of lay out the story. And you do it maybe once or twice a week. You're not really into it, but you know you need to do it, or you know you should be doing it. The first month, you're maybe sporadic. You do 1 week, you do 3 times a week. The next, you do one, then you go out of town and miss it. And then, you're not really consistent. And then you realize, I'm not getting results like I want. So you get a little bit more consistent in the second month, and say you're pretty much 2 to 3 times a week in the second month, but you're kind of still doing the same exercise, the same reps, the same amount of weight. And then so you're consistent, but you're not really challenging yourself as much as you probably know you could. So your third month, you go all in and you're doing 4 times. You're feeling good. You're changing up the resistance. You're making it more challenging for yourself. Really, out of those 3 months, your last month is your consistent month. With that, then you're going to realize that you're not ready to change your routine. In fact, I would recommend that on a consistent path that you look and shoot for and strive for a good 8 to 12 weeks of being consistent. That's consistency. Now, if 2 times a week is all you got, then be consistent 2 times a week for 8 to 12 weeks. And then it's time to maybe relook at. Now, I'm not saying consistent with the weights. I'm saying with your routine. So your routine might be you're doing free weights, you're doing body weight training. We have built into our conditioning program for our Brave coaching for our clients, and they have progressive workouts, but really just a client that gets better results, that wants better results, is going to be able to work with a coach that can monitor and track progress and help progress accordingly. And then it's kind of a no-brainer. You don't have to think about it. You do the work, you show up, you share what you're doing, and then you allow your coaches to help progress you and teach you accordingly and develop that skill set. So really the golden rule that I say is between 8 and 12 weeks. So you're looking at like 2 to 3 months being consistent. And again, if you want to do 4 days a week, then be consistent 4 days a week for 3 months, 2 to 3 months, and then progress. And you're going to see results. Now, of course, you can't out train a bad diet. So you can work out, 7 days a week. Heck, you could do 2 workouts a day. But if your diet is not included in that, meaning you're not following a good nutrition plan, you're not getting sleep, you're not recovering, you're not drinking enough water, maybe you're doing some supplementation and you're not doing any of those other things, chances are you're not going to get the results you want. And then 1 or 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to quit or you're going to try to hop on some other kind of program or do some other kind of dieting or starve yourself skinny, whatever it is. So that's going to be the first kind of case. Then I want to give you a couple of other areas as far as when just some signs, if you will. I have a handful of signs here, 3 or 4 signs that I want to help you with knowing when it's time to change up your workout routine. So the plateau, like I hear this often, and I want you to go back and re-listen to what I just shared. Before you start saying that you're at a plateau, you want to actually do a good inventory, do a little kind of self-reflect and really ask yourself, have you been consistent enough to really say you're at a plateau? Because a plateau may be coming, which means you're just not getting the results you want because you're just not consistent, or maybe you're not progressing yourself accordingly. Those are areas that professionals like myself, coaches that can help, and trainers that know what they're doing can help you with that. So again, the plateau is where you're doing the same thing over and over and you're getting results. So like a real plateau, if you're in 2 to 3 months in, and you're exercising, you're pretty religious. In other words, you're intentional and you're not, letting other things distract you and get in the way of being consistent with your exercise routine, your strength training routine, but you're not seeing results, then you may want to look at all those other factors that I just mentioned: your nutrition, your sleep, your stress, your water intake, supplementation, those type of things, your type of lifestyle. Those would be the things that I would first do before saying you're at a plateau. But then if all of those are actually taken care of and they're pretty dialed in, then it's probably safe to say, and this happens, some people will be really needing to progress accordingly. Like the plateau, it's time to increase weights. It's kind of time to change up your routine. It's time to maybe look to something more advanced. The good news is the plateau is not necessarily a bad thing. If you're progressing and you're getting in better shape and you're realizing, you know what, this is getting easy, and you're not seeing the results, it's time to step up. And that's a good sign. Now, the best part is no matter what age you are, you can progress to a point where you feel like, you're at a plateau. But again, all those factors that I just discussed should be something you consider before even saying to yourself that you're plateauing. Sometimes it's just you either getting frustrated because you're not seeing results, and that's not a plateau. That's just you getting frustrated because you're probably not doing the things you need to do to get the results you want, to get stronger, to get more fit. Of course, the other thing, number two, one of the second signs that I see is when people get bored. You start feeling bored and you're kind of looky-loo. I mentioned that early on. You're looking, oh, you know what? I've been doing the spinning for 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 10 weeks, and you're just not seeing the results you want. And you're feeling bored with it. Or you just don't enjoy the exercise that you're doing. Maybe the gym has a kind of not a great atmosphere and energy vibe to it. Maybe you're doing home workouts and you really want to get outside or maybe be around people. Those are other things. Maybe, again, if you're going into it and not really enjoying it, now I'm not here to tell you that it's always going to be enjoyable and you're always going to be super motivated, but you probably should lean towards something that you're going to enjoy. Maybe you like being outside. So maybe for you, doing some strength training out in a park or in your backyard could be something you set up for yourself, or you get connected with a friend and you can go to the park and you do a workout there. Or maybe you're more inclined to do like a strength training circuit workout at the gym that your gym offers. Maybe it's a class and you can do some weight training there. Those are other things. So, the boredom part will come in. Look, I've been doing strength training and workouts for 3 decades now. And I can tell you that actually I've had moments where I feel a little bored, but it's not where I just want to throw it all out of the window and just not do anything or kind of look for something else. I might change up. Hey, I want to go outside. The weather is getting nicer here. And I get outside and do some more hiking and biking and things like that. So that might be a little different cardio instead of getting on a step mill or doing a rower, something to that nature. So when you're feeling bored is definitely another sign. But again, ask yourself that real question. Is it boredom, or is it you're just kind of frustrated because you're not getting results? All right. Sign number 3 is when you have, the time to change things up should be pretty quick on this one, is you're having not like muscle soreness, just like from working out, which is just muscle fatigue, or you're tired. You feel a little bit of soreness in your arms or your shoulders or your legs. I'm talking about maybe you have some old nagging injuries that are just not really going away, things that maybe have been up, maybe some past stuff that's coming back up now that you're trying some different things. But if you're like, oh, you know what, I really have that back and that back issue is not going away and I feel like it's getting more sore, you probably need to change things up. So a good kind of rule of thumb, all that means to say for you is you have to listen to your body, no matter what a coach or a trainer or your neighbor or a friend or a workout class instructor is going to tell you. If you feel something is not right, definitely ask, but definitely I would actually really consider thinking about changing things up. One of the beautiful things that our clients have is coaches that can help people work through those limitations, those nagging injuries. And they usually only come up once or twice maybe, and they feel it. And we adjust, accommodate, change up their program, and then they're off and running. There is a value to having somebody to help navigate your routine for exercise so that you can get the maximum benefit. You can get optimized results. You can get truly in the best shape of your life when you have some guidance and direction. It's kind of like anything in life, right? I know when I want to get to a higher level on all fronts, I look to the people that are doing it. I get the advice. I look for coaches. I look for guide support, people that can help me develop my skill set. And you should too. All right. So the next one is, this one is more for like your gym rat, exercise addict kind of thing. If you feel like you're spending all your time at the gym, you feel like more is going to be better. I'm not saying more exercise. I love exercise, and I think definitely to some extent more is better. But if you're just going to the gym and spending what you started out spending 30 minutes at gym, and then you're 30 minutes at your gym or even in your home gym or outside, and then you do an hour and then an hour and a half, and you think like more is going to get you the results that you're not getting with the 30 minutes or 45. You should be able, truly should be able to see and feel changes in your body in 30 to 45-minute workouts, no more. In fact, some of our clients have such busy schedules and lifestyles that they're starting out with 15 and 20-minute workouts. But if you find like you're spending all the time at the gym and you're not getting the return on your investment in time, then you're going to really probably need to take an inventory and look at what you're doing and see, is it really worth all the hours that you're spending? Chances are you probably need to change your routine at that point, or at least look to level it up, or maybe to scale back. The other option and the thing that I see come up when people are overdoing it, they're doing too much. They're overloading their body, and this doesn't happen all the time, but there is a small percentage of people that are working out so hard that their body's never recovering, and their body never recovers, and they never get the benefits from the body's muscles to recover. And your muscles in your body don't recover, then it's hard for you to get stronger and be more fit. So for beginners, I don't think that's going to be as much of a problem, but it is something to think about down the road. And I think as far as the type of exercise to change things up, I actually just would highly recommend that you find a handful of things. If you look at in the seasons, if you live somewhere, now we used to live in Florida where it was pretty nice all year round, but now living in Colorado. So we look, now we're readjusting our approach to exercise to some extent, where the weather is not always favorable, but we still get out to the gym, but it may be not as conducive to go for a walk or a hike or something like that. So we'll pick other things. We didn't get a chance to do that much this winter, but things like, snowshoeing or snowboarding and skiing, those type of things, cross country, maybe hiking and biking in the springtime, in the summertime. For, when we lived in Florida, is going to be more like surfing and paddleboarding, although we could probably do a little paddleboarding here in Colorado. Those are things that can now, as far as strength training goes, that's not going to be necessarily for the strength training, but you can figure out ways to add strength training to it. So that way you can benefit on all those activities that you may enjoy to do with seasonal changes in your life. So one of the things that I actually am excited about with the strength training, and I see, is I'm able to look at things that I probably wouldn't look to do. Last year, we did a big event. It was out in Whistler, and it was called Everesting 29029 event. And it was basically a kind of like a sample of climbing Everest without having to go to Everest and worry about dying. And that was where you would climb up a ski mountain. We did this in Vancouver, and you had to climb the pursuit was to climb up the mountain 8 times. You climbed up the mountain and you take a gondola, which is how you get up the mountain typically when you're skiing. But this was during, in September time. So it was in the summer, late summer. And you climb up and then you go down. And it was a challenge for both my wife and I. It was really, really hard. But we trained for it. We did strength training, conditioning, and we were able to set our eyes on things that were higher level for us. This may not be for you, but even as a beginner, maybe you're thinking about you'd like to run a 5K, and you know that you need to strengthen your body and maybe make your ankles and your knees and your hip joints a little stronger and the muscles around them a little stronger so that you can do it. Maybe, the strength training benefits is going to help you get rid of some of that excess weight that's going to allow you to run without the excess pressure on your joints. That's going to be a benefit too. Just things to think about. So anyway, on that note, I think we'll end it here on the series. So over the last 4 episodes, I shared with you for this specific series how to get stronger, a beginner's guide. And I would love to hear your thoughts. If you like this kind of content, I'd love for you to share below. I don't have all the answers, but I've been in this space for a very long time. I've done a lot of education, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in coaching and continuing education and workshops, and even just studying for myself personally, as well as helping, thousands of clients in the trenches with their own pursuit to getting stronger, getting their bodies in great shape, and I'd love to help you in any way I can. So one of the best ways that I can help is to know where you need help. I'd love to hear from you. Drop down below or send me a message at info@avensfitness.com. And from that, I hope you enjoyed the series. I'll talk to you soon and have a blessed day. Make sure today you're braver than you were yesterday. God bless.